There was a great change during the height of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, which was led by Nebuchadnezzar II. This leader, famous for both conquering land and building the famous Hanging Gardens, had an experience that challenges the way most people think about power and people. Imagine a king turning into a wild animal. What could happen to a ruler to cause him to lose his humanity? What is even more interesting is how this change could be undone. The answers to these questions show not only a spiritual mystery, but also a deep appreciation for a higher power and a profound sense of humility. During his reign after taking Jerusalem, Nebuchadnezzar saw himself as God's means of punishing the Israelites for their sins. But because of his great pride, he would also meet a terrible end. Daniel saw a terrifying dream telling him that the king must change his ways. But the king did not listen. As a result, he was punished by turning him into something less than human and making him wander the fields like an animal for a time. Surprisingly, this event doesn't mean the end of his journey. Instead, it is the beginning of a new one as he seeks to understand and obey the power that rules not only the world of men, but also the entire universe. The story of Nebuchadnezzar is a strong warning that no position or power on earth is permanent or total. The fact that this strong king was turned into a wild animal and then brought back to life emphasizes the lesson that all power is weak in comparison to the majesty of God. Over the centuries, this rare and prophetic event has been recounted again and again in the book of Daniel. It also remains a warning to people full of pride and arrogance. Are you interested in how Nebuchadnezzar handled this amazing change and what this says about his power and humility? Stay tuned to find out what are the secrets and strange things are in this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our station if you like what you see. Another king and chief, Nebuchadnezzar, was judged by God in a way that not only changed the way he thought about power, but also how he saw himself as a person. This event, in which a heavenly being interfered with in a prophetic dream, not only led to his embarrassment, but also illuminated God's authority for all time. In the prophetic dream, there was a tree reaching to heaven. It looked like the Tower of Babel and was a metaphor for how proud people can be. The sentence to live like an animal for 7 years was a direct response to his exacerbated pride, a condition that, although described as lycanthropy, represented the loss of dignity associated with unbridled human pride. The sentence to live like an animal for 7 years was a direct response to his exacerbated pride, a condition that, although described as lycanthropy, represented the loss of dignity associated with unbridled human pride. This change was not just a punishment, it was also an opportunity to make amends. It was clear that divine authority was present, teaching that it can bestow power but also has the right to withdraw it. It was easy to understand. Everything great in the world is a gift from God, and only the Creator has true power. Nebuchadnezzar woke up after being sent away with the wild animals for a while, a miracle that showed not only how merciful God is, but also how he can forgive and start over. When he was put back on the throne, it was not just a matter of position, it was also a spiritual return. He then spoke about how great God is and how no power on earth can compare with the eternal reign of the Most High. This episode shows how permanent divine rule is, something Nebuchadnezzar learned from his shameful and transforming event. The story of his fall and rise shows not only how weak human power is, but also how God controls the ways of nations and the lives of people. Nebuchadnezzar returned from this journey of humility not only as a revived king, but also as a changed man whose outlook on life would never be the same again. His testimony after his death is a strong warning that the only way to be truly wise is to recognize and worship God as the one in control of everything. Nebuchadnezzar not only emerged from his trial as a restored king, but also as a man who had been profoundly changed. His new perspective showed a deep understanding of God's authority. When he was reinstated on the throne, he knew that he had gone beyond human power and had reached the heights of God's goodness and glory. The real change Nebuchadnezzar experienced shook his country and beyond, marking a turning point for him and for all the people he ruled. He spoke publicly about his faith, which was both a reflection of his own experience and a declaration of God's dominion over all countries and forces on earth. This declaration, which came from a truly changed heart, was not normal for a king or queen of his rank and authority. He did not praise himself for what he had done. Instead, he praised the one true God, whose power and goodness had changed his life forever. The fact that Nebuchadnezzar decided to issue a royal edict acknowledging him and praising God before all nations shows how much he had changed. This act was not just a show of respect. His act of humility and respect was a call for a new spiritual order for his kingdom. The king, who used to be proud and able to fend for himself, was now seeing miracles from God and freely sharing his faith. By adding this incredible story to the Bible, Daniel emphasized that the God of Israel is for everyone and can be reached. Not only did this story honor God, but it was also a strong lesson in how people can be saved. The story of a Gentile king who was changed by the right way to connect with God showed God's hand to people outside of Israel and gave them hope and salvation. At the end of this story, there was a spiritual lesson about what would happen to the Gentile countries. Nebuchadnezzar's journey from madness to understanding and healing shows how countries can change if they initially reject God's authority, but then accept and submit to it. In a small way, his experience shows how God's plan for people works in the bigger picture. The story of Nebuchadnezzar is not only a story of salvation, but also resonates with God's call to all nations to abandon their pride and seek humility. It is an invitation to follow the model of Christ, who showed us what true power looks like by being humble and helpful. Thus, Nebuchadnezzar's lesson transcends space and time, offering people a timeless way to behave and respect. We hope this journey through Nebuchadnezzar's past has made you reflect on what power and humility really mean. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive more videos like this one, and please share this one with people who may also be interested in these spiritual and historical lessons. Please tell us what interested you most about this story in the words below. Thank you for reading this amazing story all the way to the end. May God bless you always. Amen.